Joining us now, the ranking Republican on House Ways and Means. He's Congressman Kevin Brady. Great to have you on, sir. Which way? It's good to see you. Which way is Congress going to vote on the president's gas tax holiday? Because his own allies, top Democrats, are ridiculing the move. We're talking Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, Jennifer Granholm, Steny Hoyer, Pete DeFazio, and Tom Carper.
Yeah, and for good reason. This is insignificant, and it's sort of insulting. Insignificant because for an average driver, it works out to $7 savings over the 3 months. That's insulting because families are going to pay an extra $2,000 this year. That's crushing for fuel taxes and higher fuel prices. And so, look, it is a gimmick. It really is insulting. And the truth of the matter, we live in a very cruel Biden economy, and this isn't going to help families in any way.
The savings are not even enough to buy gallons of milk. Let's watch then Senator Obama, watch Nancy Pelosi, and watch Jennifer Granholm. Watch this.
And we're arguing over a gimmick to save you half a tank of gas. This isn't an idea designed to get you through the summer. It's an idea designed to get them through an election.
The pro is very showbiz. Okay, let's just do something. There it is. But it is not necessarily landing in the pocket of the consumer. How do we help people directly? If you're going to have to pay for it and you don't want it to come out of the trust fund.
Part of the challenge with the gas tax, of course, is that it funds the roads. And we just did a big infrastructure bill to help fund the roads. So if we remove the gas tax, that takes away the funding that was just passed by Congress to be able to do that.
Okay, Congressman, let's stay on that point. Taxpayers are going to have to pay for this. This is moving money out of one pocket to another. It's robbing Peter to pay Paul. So he's going to take $10 billion out of the Highway Trust Fund, which gets money from the gas tax, but then backfill it with infrastructure spending. He's going to starve infrastructure spending for this when the savings will get wiped out in just weeks as gas keeps going up.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Thank you for making all those points, because the truth of the matter is the president just dismissed, oh, we have to backfill it. He said, we'll just put extra money in there. I don't know where that comes from. It does undermine infrastructure. There's no guarantee this ends after 3 months. We know how gimmicky Congress can be. And you're right, prices keep going up. So even with this tiny temporary little 18-cent savings, that's going to be eaten up. You got to go to the core issue, which is we got to produce more, refine more, ship more here in America. And as long as he's wed to this Green New Deal, we're not going to see the relief.
So remember by the way, Biden inherited from President Trump energy independence. Remember, and then he's saying, tapping the strategic reserves would lower gas prices. That was his plan. And, the other thing, too, is, Congressman, majority of Americans don't believe Putin is to blame. Neither does the Federal Reserve Chair. Gas went up like 55% before the Russian invasion. How did he destroy what Trump gave him?
Yeah, so reversing every Trump policy, both on really restrained focus on the pandemic. He took his eye off it. That $2 trillion just inflation-driven American Rescue Plan. I think one of the big inflation drivers was when he was paying people more to stay home than reconnect with their job. We still have that hangover there. That's why this worker crisis, I think, Elizabeth, is going to drive inflation higher and longer, not to mention we've still got those looming tax hikes on Main Street businesses. That will fuel more inflation as well.
To your point about jobs, okay, the president is attacking U.S. energy jobs. Those are middle-class and blue-collar jobs, millions of jobs. We have this red flag warning, Congressman, for D.C. The reports are coming in that Amazon, Walmart, they're saying maybe we'll just let these hourly workers go, that maybe we'll just thin out our workers by attrition, not fill those jobs. There are 11 million job openings. Companies maybe are saying maybe we don't need them.
Yeah, what worries me on top of that, new report that shows Bidenflation has been so cruel, it's wiped out the savings of 26 million low-income families. So the people getting crushed are the lowest income. It's wiped out their savings, and most Americans will tell you they're dipping into savings to try to meet those basic needs. And so, look, he's failed. The president's failing in every economic measurement there is, and he still wants to double down on more of the same that got us here.
Here's the thing. President Biden, he's now demanding, drill, baby, drill. He's saying, U.S. oil companies, you got to produce more. as his energy policies attacks and undercuts those middle-class and blue-collar jobs. Let's watch the president go after Chevron's CEO, Michael Wirth. This CEO, Congressman, he reportedly sent the president an email saying, stop slamming U.S. oil. Watch this.
Question on the Chevron CEO's complaint today. He said that your administration has largely criticized the oil and gas industry and at times vilified it, and that the administration would need to take a change in approach in order to make progress on reducing energy prices and to increase supply. Do you have a reaction to that, sir?
It's mildly sensitive. I didn't know they'd get their feelings hurt that quickly.
Seriously? Show again how he's undercutting U.S. energy. From day one, he launched 7 executive actions and initiatives to undercut U.S. energy. And now he's saying he's not going to meet with 7 oil CEOs tomorrow instead of the Energy Secretary Granholm is going to meet him?
Yeah, what a shameful hypocrisy. Coming from Texas, we've seen immediately from canceling pipeline leases, permits, sales. You know, they're squeezing the finances on American-made oil and gas. So look, they're doing everything to kill this industry off. The president brags about that to his Green New Deal friends. He's trying to play both sides of the fence, but he can't believe the American people are that stupid, because they're not. They're getting this in a big way. But I guess the advice he's given is just try to be a hypocrite.
Congressman, Democrat-led shutdowns destroyed 22 million jobs. Now we have a president and a White House trying to shut down U.S. energy in favor of electric cars and green energy when the power grid would go into blackouts. The power grid is powered in the majority by fossil fuels. They don't have the charging stations or the electric grid ready for their electric car push. I mean, it's the political intervention, right? The government regulations, the rules, hamstringing U.S. energy, Congressman.
It is. And, you know, Elizabeth, if there's a silver lining, think the curtain got pulled back on the Green New Deal and the real price on families, the attack on American energy, same thing. So I will tell you what, they may think they're being very clever here. American people figured out just how cruel these policies are on them.
You know, even beyond what we just showed to the viewer, what the president is doing, Congressman, let's go through it quickly. The ethanol mandates, refinery mandates, refineries that did not come back online after those shutdowns, the Jones Act restrictions. You stop the oil majors from shipping oil between U.S. ports to bring down prices, fuel economy rules, none of them market-based economy, common sense stuff.
No, and they're even pursuing even more carbon pricing, border adjustment schemes that'll drive energy up and make it tougher for us to produce, refine, ship it around this country, the communities that need it. So, you know, he's playing both sides of the fence, held another Zoom with all the climate change activists around the world bragging on these same policies. And so, again, there's a hypocrisy here that the American people just aren't going to buy.
Congressman Brady, great to have you on. Come back soon. Okay.